Hello golfers, Jess Frank coming to you from the Jess Frank Golf Academy here at the beautiful Deer Creek Golf Club, and thank you so much for joining in. I'm a 20-year PGA teaching professional. I love teaching this game. I love helping you get better. So let's get into it today about educated hands. Why are your hands so important, and why are educated hands so important? Educated hands are important because they're the only thing that connect you to the golf club, okay? And there's so many things that I see when people are playing and hitting balls that if they just spent time on understanding how their hands, wrists, and arms work, they would be a much more advantageous session instead of just trying to pound golf balls and wondering why you're slicing all the time. So most people that swing through the ball, they have hands that, you know, if you're a right-handed golfer, they have hands that bend the wrist, bend the elbow, trying to get underneath the ball. A lot of this comes from just trying to hit at the ball and make some sort of compensation to get the club face on the back of the ball. And so what's so important is that if my hands and arms are just hanging into my side like this here, right? Okay, so if I take my hands on the club, if that's where I want to kind of return the club into the back of the ball, you can see is that I'm not helping the ball. My right hand's not going underneath the ball or trying to scoop underneath the ball. It's definitely the feeling of just taking, so I start with my lead arm first, which is my left arm. Okay, so now as I work back, it rotates back, okay, and then it rotates back through, and you can see there's a slight bow in the wrist here, and then it continues on over here. So many times I see people buckling, their hands and arms get close to their body, and what happens is that you get the thin shot, the right shot, the shots that are just really just inconsistent, because what it does is it changes the bottom of your swing and also starts to open the club face. So the left arm is super, and left hand, left wrist, super important how this works. And so understanding that the left arm works 180 degrees. So if it's here in front of you, as I go back, it starts to rotate back, okay? So that's back to the backswing. As I go back through, it's got to come back through and around here. So if you just did that motion just with your left arm, you would improve your game almost immediately, because there's just so many people that bend the elbow, scoop it, have the wrist and hands working in the wrong position. But anybody can put their hand here, swing the arm back, let your, give it a little pivot back here, so the tilting, extending, tilting, turning, just so the left arm gets parallel to the ground. Then it comes back down into the ball, so you can see this, my weight moving forward, and now back through impact, I've got a nice bowed left wrist and around and through. So if you look at the Ben Hogan books or Tom Watson's books, they all have that rotation of the left arm or their forward arm. So this is just something that you could just spend time with, and then go ahead and put the club in your hand, and you can go, basically here. So if my hand is at address and I swing back and I swing through, now it's the same thing. Now there's that forward leaning shaft, okay, and then there's the club that swings through. So you can see now is that I don't have any bend in my left arm. The left hand is rotated correctly. So it's going from one side of the body right on through. And so just this motion here is super important for a lot of golfers, just to educate their left arm. So now how does the right arm work? This is super important as well. The right arm, as the right arm swings back, so get it to about parallel to the ground, as it comes in, the right arm is bent here, and you can see is that the wrist is bent back, okay? Most people come into the ball and they're like this, the wrist or the palms to the sky. So as I swing through with my right hand, I'm gonna feel like my right palm is to the ground. Now this is an extremely powerful position, because what it does is it's gonna lean the shaft forward, and it's also going to compress the ball. And this is basically the flying wedge, as we like to call it in Stack and Telt. The right wrist flying wedge. So I have that wrist bent back. So now if I put my club in my hand, look at where the shaft is. The shaft's in front. Most people have it back here. So this is just an important way to do it. So I go ahead and take it back here. As I come through, you can see is that now the club head still lines up perfectly, but that right wrist stays bent back, okay, or looking towards the floor. And now I have a little gap right here, that little pizza slice, as a lot of people like to call it, right there, a little gap in between my left, or my club head, the club grip end, and my right forearm. Most people have it the other way. They have it with the grip behind them. So if, let's say, let's go down the line here, let's go back to the left arm. So the left arm, as it rotates back, you can see as this club gets about, or my left arm gets a little bit almost parallel to the ground. As it swings back down, it's going to swing back around. So now it's good impact there and around. So you can see there's no pulling in. Okay, so we do it forward towards the camera. There, right there. So the left arm is definitely moving around your body, and now you have a really good position here. So now that left hand, back of the left hand, is kind of almost facing the ground, knuckles to the ground, facing the ground, something like that would be really good. One of my teachers I really like and admire, Mike Bender, he talks about, you know, put the golf ball in his left hand, roll the hand. So feel that, that's a great drill as well. But I think even without a golf ball, just feeling this total roll, 180 degrees of the left arm. And then as I come through, here we go with the right. And then as I come through, you can see is that I haven't flipped at all. However, when I get to about parallel to the ground, the club shaft now is narrowed in between my forearm and my and the club shaft here. So it's narrowed. So as I come through, but it hasn't gone like this. It hasn't flipped. So that's super important. So it goes like this here. So if I put my left hand on, now look at this here. Now I've got straight arms. Now my hands are in the right spot. My weight's forward. So educated hands can really help your game just improve on this simple motion. So now if I put in the left arm, I swing back, there you go, right hand on the club. Now basically there's the right hand over left. So that position right there, if I look at the 100 greatest tour players or ball strikers, they get to that position right there. There's none of them that play on tour or that are any good that have their wrists and arms bent, their hands moving all over the place, changing the radius of the swing. So educated hands are just crucial on you playing good golf. And so if I go ahead and hit a couple little shots like this here, and all I'm going to feel, both hands here, keep that club, and I mean that's solid, and it's just a little bit of just a small shot. And so that's where you want to build. And so many people want to take these big back swings, and there's just no structure, there's no radius, there's no impact. And so if you want to get good as a newer golfer, or somebody who's been playing a while and just struggling with trying to hit it solid, you know, this is the way to go. Now, what you can also do with this is make it real simple. Put your feet together if you want to do that, and just work on your hands being educated and not bending. So here's the tip for you on this one. So the swing tip for you here on educated hands is when you make this little motion, keep the club head pointed to the ground when you practice this. So you go back, forth, keep the club head pointed to the ground. So you can see I've extended, tilted, and turned my body. My arms are straight, my wrists are in a good spot, the club head hasn't flipped, and my elbows haven't bent. So that's an excellent way for you to practice your educated hands in the golf swing, and a great way for you to strike the ball solid. And in fact, I did this yesterday with a gentleman who, you know, takes a lesson every, you know, once a month or so, comes to see me. And that's what he doesn't practice that. However, when we do that during the lesson, he hits the ball solid every time. And shockingly, he hits the ball just as far as he does when he's taking his full swing, because he's not making as good a contact on the full swing. So it's kind of like an effortless hit. So when he does that, he can even, you know, lengthen out the swing a little bit, feet close together, little longer swing, and sure enough, he's hitting the ball solid and being able to play golf. So now he's not losing golf balls left and right. Now he's hitting the ball down the middle at his target. So what you have to remember, educated hands, take your time. You know, there's no rush in this. This is long term. We're gonna play forever. We're gonna play this golf game for a long time. So, you know, left arm, some people like the lead arm, the left arm. Some people love that. Some people like to feel the right arm. So either way, you're educating your hands. You're educating the club head when you educate the hands. So now you're in a much better position to hit the ball a lot more solid. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. My name's Jess Frank, and please subscribe and turn on your notifications. And you know, again, I love teaching this game. I love hearing back from everyone. Love the comments. So let's keep them coming, and we'll see you soon. Have a great day.